Hello, lovely ladies. How are you tonight? I'm just waiting for a few more people to jump on board. Just excuse me as I send them all an email. Just to make sure. I mean, this is going to be recorded. So, yeah, let me know if you can hear me, or I'll do my thing again.
No.
So it's fixed. Can you hear me?
Do you have your mic on?
I do.
Excellent.
I've got little green lights going. Loud and clear. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, we're going to begin. This is an hour, and there is a little bit of information to go through, and I don't want to linger too long at the beginning, other than welcome, and you guys all know me. And if there was someone here that didn't know me, then I would reintroduce myself, but you guys know who I am. And we've got Lurking Ann over in the corner, and just pop your head in.
Don't go anywhere.
I can't do this on my own.
You can. I'm happy to do it.
Oh, that doesn't look good, does it? No.
That's not a good.
Oh, I shall put it down here. It should be fine. All right. So you should still be able to hear me well. And welcome, welcome, welcome to
No.
tonight's
No.
no. All right,
No.
all right. Welcome to tonight's workshop. That's it, Anne. Can you put the thing on for me now, please?
You were going to do that.
I
Oh,
was.
no, that's what I was going to do that. Yeah, you might have to do it. Mine's not working.
Oh.
I've lost
No,
it.
there we go. All right. That makes me feel better. You're not seeing me on that big screen. Oh, always gives me heart palpitations. All right. Shut up. Welcome to Protecting Your Energy Field in a Chaotic World. And I'm sure that we can all agree that it is a chaotic world, and it is getting more and more chaotic as the weeks go on. And I decided to go back to this information because I have done stuff on energy fields and, over the years. But because we're in the state that we are in at the moment, I thought it was a really good way of coming back and looking at the information so that we can help ourselves return to some sort of balance and normality for our systems, and to try and understand more about how our systems work on a scientific level and on a spiritual level, because often I'm talking on this subject very much more on a spiritual level. So it's a whole lot of woo-woo-y stuff, but I wanted to also look at it from the scientific point of view of what actually we are dealing with and what sort of consequences there are if we don't look after ourselves properly. So I hope that makes sense for you. So the purpose for tonight is to gain a greater understanding and awareness of the need to protect your energy in our modern chaotic world. The structure of this is that we are looking at both the sides and the spirituality of energy. So we're looking at it from the point of view of what we know scientifically is going on for us, and also from the old style stuff that people were doing for thousands of years before science came around. So everything you do, thinking, speaking, feeling, uses energy. And in science, it's usually got a specific measurement to do that. So you might measure it in calories or watts or volts, etc. In spirituality, it's looked at in a little bit of a different way, and it is called chi, prana, and life force. And your energy field is real, and it can be felt, it can be drained, and it can be strengthened. Now, science says that energy equals the capacity to do work and the ability to do work. And energy enables us to move objects, create light, heat, or other forms of change. So, work can also be described as the application of force over a distance. For example, if you push a box across the floor, you're using energy to do work. So, energy comes in various forms, and some examples of that are kinetic energy, energy of motion, potential energy, which is stored energy, and thermal energy, which is heat, and much more. So it's a fundamental principle that energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed from one form to another. Now, if you look at energy from a spiritual viewpoint, energy is organized into more subtle energy systems like chakras, meridians, and auras. These are not measurable by conventional tools, but instead they are felt and sensed. We really do have to get better at understanding the values we give energy from both perspectives. Otherwise, we risk our vital energy being compromised. Now, do you think it is important to understand both the scientific and spiritual perspective of energy? That's a question. So, what do you guys think? Do you think it's a useful thing to look at it from both sides, from the scientific side and the spiritual side? If you would like to put a comment in, that would be great. I kind of always think about it like, working from the inside out and also working from the outside in. So we're sort of covering all bases, and we're looking at it from maybe a more holistic perspective. So subtle energies have many different names depending on what culture you are looking at. But we do know that a lot of these cultures have been looking at energy fields and energy healing for thousands of years. And we may call them chakras, we may call them chi, we may call them prana, we may call them auras, whatever. Maybe you have heard of them being called another name. If you know of an energy field having another name from another culture, if you would like to put it in the comments. We normally think of chakras probably when we're thinking of what we are most accustomed to. But again, it's something that is borrowed from different cultures. It's not definitely not an Australian thing, and it's not an English thing either. But I will give you a couple of other examples. So here are some key aspects of subtle energy fields from a spiritual viewpoint. So we can have meridians and nadis, and they are pathways through which energy flows within the body, connecting to organs and influencing their functions. We can have chakras, which are energy centers that are believed to be points of connection between physical and subtle bodies, influencing emotions, energy, and overall well-being. And it's a field with the chakras that tends to surround the physical body, and is believed to be a reflection of an individual's emotional, mental, and spiritual state. So when, for example, I look at energy fields, if I'm doing healing, I might pull a pendulum out and put that pendulum in front of somebody's body and stop the pendulum on the different chakra points to see whether it spins or whether it sits still. And if it's sitting still, then there could be a blockage there. And so that's where I work most of all. Now, there's also prana and chi, and these are terms used to describe the subtle energy of life force in various traditions like yoga and Chinese medicine. There's also the etheric body, which you may have also heard about as a term, and that's used to describe the non-physical body composed of subtle energies, often seen as a template for the physical body. So it's like, same shape and everything, but it sort of sits outside of it. And then we have the subtle body. This encompasses all aspects of the subtle energy field, including the mind, emotions, and consciousness. And from a scientific perspective, while the existence of subtle energy fields are not scientifically proven, there is ongoing research into the influence of electromagnetic fields and bioenergy on living organisms. So before modern science, early cultures worked with healing these subtle energy fields to raise our health and well-being. And most of you have probably been at some stage to an acupuncturist or to a healer or to someone who works in your energy field in some way, shape, or form. You've probably all had some sort of connection to that so that you know how or what I'm talking about and how literally how subtle most of the healing modalities are. They're not very big sort of shocks to the system. They're really a subtle way of doing it. And there is a lot of work being done at the moment in hospitals and to see how working with your biofield and things like Reiki and therapeutic touch can actually help assist a body to heal, as well as working with the medicines and everything. So it's something that they are learning is of benefit very slowly. They're doing lots and lots of practice, lots and lots of experiments. And there are many hospitals around the world that actually have practitioners on board who will come in and actually do healing for people. And it seems to be very, very positive. So there you go. Fancy that. Now, your energy field can also be called the aura or biofield. Biofield tends to be more of a scientific term that's acceptable, not none of this woo-woo aura type of stuff that they talk about. It surrounds and extends beyond the physical body, interacts with your emotions, health, and environment, and sensitive people feel or see this field. In other words, they have what's called intuitive perception. So, working with energy fields aims to promote well-being and balance by interacting with the subtle energy that surrounds and permeates the human body. It's very, very good, I have found, for people who are going through some sort of clinical care associated with things like cancer, where their body's really struggling with the amount of chemicals that really go into it to try and battle the cancers. And energy healing can just assist the body to rest, relax, and again, heal from the inside. So, energy work recognizes that emotional, mental, and physical well-being are all interconnected. By addressing the energetic level, practitioners aim to restore balance across all these aspects, addressing blockages and imbalances. So, energy work can help identify and clear energetic blockages, which may manifest as physical ailments, social distress, or emotional distress. That's a Freudian slip. I was going to say strip, that's not going to be good. Or mental stagnation. Now, enhancing vitality and energy levels. By working with the body's natural energy flow, individuals can potentially increase their overall vitality and resilience. And promoting self-awareness. So engaging with the energetic realm can foster a deeper understanding of yourself and your relationship with the world. So again, when you just go down the scientific route, it's like your body is pummeled with all of this stuff and you are one step behind. When you are going through healing with a wellness practitioner who looks at your energy field, it's like you really do become aware of all the sensations of what is going on, where it hurts, where your pain might sit, whether it is emotional, whether it is a whole combination of things that need to be treated at once, because of course any big operation is traumatic to the body. So I don't understand why, and it's obviously it's because it can't be measured, that scientists and doctors don't use this more. It seems to be a no-brainer. It's the thing that costs the least, really. You've just got someone who puts their hands over you. That's very little cost compared to, all the other stuff that we have to consume to be well. Now, I thought I'd take a moment to look at how energy is formed in the human body and how important energy is for human life to exist and to thrive. And there are a number of different things that are required, and this may sound rather technical, but I'll only say it once. So once all the technicality is over, you don't have to stress that I'm going to repeat myself 1,000 times with this, but I think it's important for us to know how our body makes energy. And of course, this is the scientific speak that I'm going to go into. So the energy your body uses for everything from thinking to healing to digesting is called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate. There you go. Ramated like that, Anne. They're big words. Oh, it's been in your course, Lisa. Awesome. So I'm going to call it ATP from now on. Is your body's version of electricity, and every cell in your body needs it to function. So how does this happen? Fuel intake, food and oxygen. So you eat food, your digestive system breaks it down into glucose, fatty acids and amino acids, and you breathe oxygen. And that's delivered via your lungs and into the bloodstream to your cells. So these two ingredients, glucose and oxygen, are the raw material for energy production. So the second step is cellular power plants, which equal the mitochondria inside almost every cell. And these are tiny energy factories. So they're your mitochondria inside every single freaking cell in your body. Now, their job is to convert the glucose and oxygen into ATP using a process called cellular respiration. So the mitochondria are the cauldrons of your cells, burning the fuel to create life force. So the process is cellular respiration, the energy ritual. There are three main stages. Glycolysis. Now, in the cell's cytoplasm, glucose is split into smaller molecules. A small amount of ATP is created. No oxygen needed here. This happens fast, like a quick spark. Then we have the Krebs cycle. You will not have to hear this again. The Krebs cycle in the mitochondria.
Do the other thing. Sorry, there you go.
With oxygen now present, ants pushing buttons.
I'm good at that. There we go.
With oxygen now present, the broken down molecules go through a series of chemical reactions. So more ATP is produced and important electron carriers are created. Now we have the third part of the story.
Let's try and get into it.
Jesus.
Got it.
Got it.
Got it. Just creating habits in the background. Per usual.
All right. So the third process is the electron transport chain, the big finale. This stage produces the most ATP, about 90% of your total energy. So it's like a controlled lightning storm inside your cells, electrons moving through a chain, generating ATP in the process. Oxygen is essential here. Without it, the whole process stalls. So why it matters for energy healing and resilience work? Oh, you should have seen that. So mitochondrial dysfunction equals less ATP, which equals less mental clarity, emotional resilience, and physical vitality. Now, to be very, very, normal sounding words with all of this, we've all experienced this. So if we're not eating properly and we're not breathing properly, our mental clarity goes down and we seem to be all cryy and upset over the smallest thing. Energy levels just drop and there is very little physical vitality. So we feel really, really sort of, out of it. So poor oxygenation from shallow breathing, anxiety, etc., means your body can't complete this process efficiently. Chronic stress disrupts mitochondrial function and increases oxidative stress, making you tired and foggy. You are not just low energy, you're underpowered at a cellular level. So is that understandable? I know that was a lot to get through, but it was really, really important that you understood how important it is. And a reminder for all of us to eat properly, to breathe properly, to get enough sleep. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that. And again, it's important to bring all of these states together so that we can really look at our energy levels and be more aware of what is going on. So this slide says your inner state shapes your energetic field. Every emotion and thought carries a frequency. Literally, when you're stressed, scared, or stuck in self-doubt, it alters the electromagnetic field your body emits, especially from the heart and brain. Now remember, we do have an electromagnetic field around us, and our body does produce an electromagnetic field because of the pumping of the heart. Now, stress equals chaotic energy output. So when you're anxious, angry, or overwhelmed, your heart rhythm becomes irregular and erratic. This disrupts communication between your heart and your brain, which scrambles clarity, intuition, and decision making. So remember, anytime you were under great stress, and you had a huge decision that you had to make in that moment, and your brain is literally trying to get to an answer, and it's like it's running around in its own little football field in your head, going, I don't know what to do. So your body goes into survival mode. So cortisol spikes and your field contracts. So this is what happens. You all of a sudden feel like you're in a box. You can't see anything. You can't understand anything. You can't make a decision, which then again spikes your ability to breathe properly. And it's this vicious circle. The result, you feel energetically drained, scattered, and disconnected. So when you are in a state of coherence, on the other hand, you are aligned and you have powerful energy. So when you're calm, centered, and emotionally regulated, even if you're sad but present with it, your heart enters a coherent state. That coherence sends a smoothed, organized signal to the brain and nervous system. Your body relaxes, your energy expands, your intuition sharpens, and you become magnetic. So, from a spiritual or magical perspective, coherence is the difference between casting a spell that works and just waving your hands around. Your emotional field fuels your energy work. So, if your internal world is in chaos, the spell or any manifestation fizzles out. But when you enter ritual with heart, mind, coherence, you have pure power. And that's why shadow work matters. That's why truth before comfort is essential, because real coherence doesn't come from fake positivity, it comes from radical honesty and emotional clarity. Let me just repeat that again. Real coherence doesn't come from fake positivity, it comes from radical honesty and emotional clarity. So this can be something where, when they say fake it till you make it, may not actually work, because it's got to come from a point where it is really your honest truth rather than something that you're just trying to create. So again, we look at energy depletion as being low energy, fatigue, brain fog, irritability, high energy, clarity, motivation, resilience, stress, overthinking, poor sleep, drain energy. Yeah. So chronic stress and prolonged stress keeps your body in a fight or flight state. And yeah, it really is super draining to be in that state for long periods of time. Cortisol and adrenaline stay elevated, which burns through your energy reserves. This also disrupts your sleep, digestion, and immune function and mental clarity, all of which deplete energy further. Your nervous system becomes hypervigilant, which is exhausting even when you're not doing anything physically. Poor sleep and the lack of deep sleep, especially REM and slow wave sleep, impairs cellular repair and brain detox and hormonal regulation. So even if you get 8 hours sleep, poor sleep still equals low energy. Now, mitochondrial dysfunction, when your cells are your cells' energy factories, as we mentioned, and when they're damaged by toxins, stress, poor diet, and inflammation, ATP production drops, and that's your body's literal fuel. So less ATP, less physical and mental energy. It's like trying to run a fire on wet wood. So blood sugar imbalances caused by constant spikes and crashes from high sugar or processed diets create an energy roller coaster. And this also stresses the adrenal system and contributes to brain fog, fatigue, and emotional instability. We also have dehydration and electrolyte imbalance, and even mild dehydration affects cognition and stamina. And that's so bloody true. We have to remember to drink enough. And that doesn't mean like going for bottles and bottles of water every day. Like, you know, some people don't need 8 glasses of water. Some people need more to feel hydrated. It's when you get in a sort of zone where you actually forget to drink. And by the afternoon, you're feeling really sort of lightheaded and you're wondering why there's a headache coming on and whatever. It's literally just because you haven't had enough to drink. You've got to remember your brain is 75% water. So low hydration equals slower processing, poor function, poor focus, and exhaustion. Now, there is also emotional suppression, mental overload, ruminating thoughts, and emotional suppression use up a massive amount of cognitive resources. The brain consumes up to 20% of your daily energy. Chronic overthinking and emotional repression can burn out your system. I think I'll wake up already having used 80% of my daily energy. Now we've got to watch that, Lisa. Everyone who's an overthinker and stays up all night thinking about stuff, you've worn yourself out before you get out of bed. Poor gut health makes neurotransmitters like serotonin. An inflamed gut equals poor absorption of nutrients, so you feel depleted. So, to kind of wrap that all up and put a ribbon on top, energy depletion happens when your body is spending more energy than it can create or recover. The biggest culprits are chronic stress, poor sleep, unstable blood sugar, mitochondrial burnout, and emotional overload. Oh, that's right, Lisa. No wonder you feel drained. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is as important to remember as grounding yourself and putting boundaries up. Because you can ground yourself and put boundaries up and do all the woo-woo stuff, but if you haven't had enough water during the day, your brain cannot function. It cannot take in the information that you are trying to give it. It cannot get to a place where it can calm down because you're in fight or flight continuously. And so these things have to work in unison. So energy depletion happens when your body's spending more energy than it can create, as we said, biggest culprits, chronic stress, poor sleep, unstable blood sugar, mitochondrial burnout, and emotional overload. Now, how does the electromagnetic field affect your body? So we're talking about electromagnetic fields that are outside of ourselves. So science recognizes that the human body generates electromagnetic fields, and this is often now referred to as our biofield. Now, this field is not a single static entity, but rather it's a complex dynamic system of electromagnetic and quantum interactions that permeate and influence the body. So let's look at this. These fields play a crucial role in regulating various biological processes, including cell communication, tissue repair, and even potentially influencing consciousness. The scientific perspective. Oh, here we go. So, electromagnetic fields, they can come from devices that are around us all day long, including our mobile phones, including the computers we are now sitting at, or wherever we are watching this from. And we have to be careful that we unplug at certain times. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You should be able to hear me now. I'll just repeat that. So we know how EMF is made, and even though it doesn't stay in the body, it can still affect us. So it can disrupt calcium ion channels, which affect nervous system function, can increase oxidative stress, leading to inflammation and mitochondrial fatigue, can disrupt melatonin production, affecting sleep, recovery, and energy, can contribute to cellular stress and inflammation in sensitive people. So to detox, you have to support your body's recovery systems rather than a literal flush out. Think of EMF detox as restoring balance to your nervous system, mitochondria, and circadian rhythm. So science-backed ways to rebalance from EMF stress. There's not a lot you can do. Okay, so it says time and distance are your best protection. The farther you are from EMF sources, the exponentially lower the exposure. Turn off Wi-Fi at night. Don't sleep with your phone near your head. Use speaker or air tube headphones. Air tube headphones. Also, grounding or earthing has been scientifically proven. So direct contact with the earth helps neutralize free radicals caused by EMF-induced oxidative stress. And that does not mean just going outside and breathing in the fresh air and walking on cement. It means actually taking your shoes and socks off and getting your feet in soil, in ground. So grounding helps reduce cortisol and improves sleep and balances autonomic nervous system. So 20 minutes barefoot on natural ground can help recalibrate your electrical field. Wow, so grounding equals literally an energetic reset. It's not just spiritual, it's electrical. There's a t-shirt in that. Antioxidant support. EMF exposure can increase oxidative stress, so you can counter it with antioxidant-rich foods and supplements. Mitochondrial support. EMF can stress your mitochondria, your energy makers. So you can support it with a number of different vitamins and supplements, and they can include coenzyme Q10, PQQ, NAD+, B vitamins. The more mitochondrial strength you have, the less energy crash from EMF you will get. You can get blue light blockers and circadian rhythm repair for exposure, especially at night time before you're sleeping. And blue light after sunset with glasses or device settings. I had a friend who used to wear blue glasses continuously because she said that it really affected her. So get some morning sunlight to reset your circadian rhythm and restore healthy melatonin flow, if you can. Now, we've talked about electromagnetic fields. And just a reminder that your body has its own bioelectromagnetic field, and it's a natural measurable field created by the electrical activity in your heart, your brain, and your cells. It's like your own personal energy signature, which may mean that no one else has quite the same energy signature that you do, which is very interesting. But again, as we mentioned, you are constantly interacting with external EMF. As paranormal investigators, we look for EMF, don't we? And they come from, as we mentioned, cell phones, power lines, electrical appliances. Again, some of the things that are reported when people have symptoms of EMF disturbances can be things like fatigue, brain fog, insomnia, anxiety, headaches, hormonal imbalances. And some people are very, very hypersensitive to electromagnetic fields. Yeah, never buy a home under those big towers. There's one in the picture there. Oh, no. And apparently the electromagnetic field actually goes out quite a distance from those towers. That's why they're usually built well and truly away from housing complexes and things. We literally have one down the road from us. And there are houses right kind of next to it. I feel sorry for those poor people. Oxidative stress contributes to inflammation. And of course, like I said, interfering with melatonin production will affect your sleep and your mood. People can say that on a spiritual level, that they feel ungrounded or scattered. So their thoughts feel scattered. They can feel quite spiritually disconnected. Like their intuition is muffled, like their intuition doesn't work anymore. They can be overstimulated and irritable. And that's quite interesting to note that their intuition is muffled. So an interesting question to ask people who say, I don't feel that I am as intuitive as I was before, is to actually ask people, has anything changed in their environment? Are they working somewhere where there is high EMF? Do they live somewhere where there is high EMF? Yeah, it's Lisa, you say that you feel recharged by spending time in nature. Absolutely. Other than it's pretty as well. All right, let us move on, people. So spiritual causes of energy depletion. I am going over stuff that most of you know quite well, but let us just go through these notes. So energetic leaks and poor boundaries, constantly giving your energy to others without replenishing it creates open channels where your life force drains out. It's understandable, yeah, and it is something that we really do feel when we are In that space, we are constantly asked to be giving, and we're not getting enough back in return. So this can include things like people pleasing, overgiving in relationships, taking on others' emotions as your own. Especially empaths can do that. You can't hold your own power if your field is Swiss cheese. Isn't that a nice saying? Soul misalignment is another thing. When you're living out of alignment with your truth, values, or purpose, your energy field contracts. If you have to be hiding yourself, if you have to be hiding who you truly are, or who you really want to be but can't because you are working in a particular place where they'd kick you out, or it sort of goes against the grain of everything that you truly believe and hold honorable to your heart, that's very, very difficult. It is really, really difficult to be in that sort of environment. So what happens is you get chronic fatigue, you get creative blocks, and you get spiritual numbness. So your soul won't power what isn't meant for you. Emotional suppression or unprocessed shadow, as so examples: repressed anger, grief, guilt, or fear take up energetic bandwidth. And that's why so many people who block all of those things find it very, very hard to assimilate into a normal world because they are overcome by all of these emotions. Shadow work clears the energetic debris so life force can flow again. So suppression equals stagnant, heavy aura. Expression equals spacious, radiant field. The truth you won't feel is the weight you always carry. It's another nice saying. Lack of grounding: when you're disconnected from the earth, you float spiritually. You feel ungrounded, anxious, and fragmented. So this happens when you're too much in your head, too plugged in digitally, or too disconnected from your body. Power doesn't come from the sky, it rises up through your feet. Ooh, pagans knew a thing or two, didn't they? Energetic cord entanglements. So spiritual exhaustion often comes from unconscious cords to people, places, or past versions of yourself. This is when you sort of find it very, very hard to let go of past things, past states of who you were, past people that are no longer there but you wish they were, and past versions of yourself. These cords siphon energy unless consciously cleared. There's also spiritual overload or burnout, and this is common in mystics and seekers. Too many activations, meditations, or rituals without enough integration. And don't we see that nowadays? I think that is so important to understand, because at any point in time, if you're part of any sort of group, you are going to be hit daily with emails and things that tell you that there's another meditation, that there's another course, that there's something else that's going to stimulate you or enlighten you even more, and yet haven't even had time to integrate the last thing that you did, or understand it properly, because it's all about the money, of course, that the teachers can be making, which is, you know, the way that they're operating and the work that they need to do. But you can be tempted to go overboard and learn too much too quickly. So be careful not to get overstimulated without proper grounding, because your aura gets thin and porous, and that's what we can tell when we're doing energy healing: how thin, how strong your aura might be, or how thin it is, where all the holes are. Um, yes, that all of those things are so, so important. Now, of course, we all know about energy vampires. They are people who drain you emotionally, and signs of that might be exhaustion after interaction, sudden mood dips, headaches. Boundaries protect your emotional and energetic health. Say no, take space, and choose your company carefully. Even noise can create tension. Natural spaces restore calm and recharge you. EMF, electromagnetic fields from devices, can impact subtle energy. From a spiritual perspective, energy depletion isn't just physical tiredness, it's soul-level exhaustion. It's a thinning of your protective energetic boundaries and a disconnection from your inner fire. So, I said both of these areas need to be looked at as being super, super important to bring together for your overarching health. But you can be eating well and having a great diet, getting enough sleep, taking multivitamins, all of that sort of stuff. But if you are constantly going to a place of work, for example, where it's just constant stress, you're not valued, or you fear being yourself, if you're in a relationship that is really just toxic and narcissistic, a good diet and sleeping is not going to help, because the stress, emotional stress, will really, really seep in, and vice versa. You can be doing all of the meditations and everything under the sun, but if you are also not looking after your body from the physical point of view, it's not going to be good enough as well. Right. Okay, let's go to the next one. So just a spiritual recap. Why you are drained, you are exhausted, not because you are weak, but because you are energetically misaligned, emotionally congested, and spiritually overextended. You must try to reclaim ownership over your energy, not by floating higher, but by rooting deeper and getting real. So it is super important to understand ourselves in such a way where we really come to terms with who we are, and what we can and what we can't do. So emotions shift the heart's electromagnetic field. Biofield research is growing in integrative health science. Carillion photography shows energetic auras. So as you can see in the photograph on the right, that's Carillion photography, and it can show, that's showing a nice bright aura around the hand, which is a good healthy sign. But of course, emotions come into this as well, yeah? So your energy is only as clear as your truth. You don't attract from what you want, you attract from what you are. We build coherence by facing what we've avoided. That's how you get your power back. It's a hard, hard lesson to learn. We build coherence by facing what we've avoided, and that's how you get your power back. Okay, so spiritual energy healing aims to restore balance in the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of a person. And there are many well-known ways to raise your energy levels in a more spiritual way. So grounding, as we have talked about, barefoot walks in nature, salt baths to cleanse the energy field, protective talismans and sigils. So spiritual EMF detox routines, so an unplugging, if you will, and taking time out. Maybe setting a routine where after a particular time at night you will not be on your laptop or your phone. I need to learn that one. Finding a good energetic healer can also assist you. And yes, look, energy healing is really something that is super, super cool. But again, you know, we can do it for ourselves. We can do it for ourselves. It's fabulous to have a healer there that can, you know, give you a 45-minute or a 1-hour session, and do it. But very, very simple hand on heart and just allowing the energy to flow. So a really simple way of doing it is to place one palm up. So it's kind of like plugging into the energy of the universe and feeling that it's coming down your hand and down into your heart. So one hand on your heart and one hand up. If you are at the beach and you want to put your one hand in the sand and one on your heart, or if you're in a park or in your backyard, you can sit on the grass and put one hand on the grass and one hand on your heart. If it's more clarity of the head, put one hand up on your head and one either up, taking energy from the universe, or down onto the ground. The energy will go where it needs to go. It just, I guess, also helps us focus, that we're focusing the energy in a particular part of our body. Now, you can also use crystals like black tourmaline to protect and ground your energy. Smudging, of course, clear stagnant energy. Visualization and intention are also powerful. You can also use prayers, affirmations, and sacred rituals if you so wish. Remember, don't overcomplicate things, please. It's much better to do a 3-minute simple ritual than set one out for 30 minutes and spend 15 minutes organizing a altar and all of that sort of stuff. No one's got time for that. More than anything, it is about consistency. So start your day with breath work or mindful journaling. Move your body regularly, eat clean and hydrate, unplug from screens and social media regularly. Now, you can also create a light shield around your body. Again, this requires visualization. So it's like you're putting a shield down around your aura and protecting it from negative energies, whether they be man-made or environmental. And you can really concentrate on cutting those energetic cords from draining people. Wash your hands with intention. So when you wash your hands, give it a minute or two, not just under the water and out. And I have to say that women are just as bad as men when it comes to not washing hands when they've been to the toilet. Ew. If you go to public toilets, you will know this all the time. There's a shared toilet at work where I go. And the number of times that people have gone out of that toilet straight out the door and not washed their hands. Ugh. Yuck. And of course, grounding. Now, cord cutting. This is hard work. And it can mean that one off isn't enough. It can mean that you have to do this time and time again until you really feel that you have made some sort of disconnection from a particular person. And it can be very, very hard when you're dealing with narcissists. But it's also very, very hard when those people that you are energetically attached to have created self-doubt in your mind, or you feel like a victim, and you continue to self-sabotage. So a lot of that can come from an original cord that has been connected to someone who has mistreated you, traumatized you, talked badly about you, given you self-doubt. And they can be the closest people in the world. They can be your family members, and they can be your partners. They can be your kids. And so you have to be very careful how you do this. And of course, in any of this, if you need help and assistance, reach out to someone who you can speak to. So maintaining a healthy biofield can enhance natural healing, reduce stress, and overall vitality. Looking after your energetic fields surrounding and within your body is important for overall well-being and health, because it supports the flow of energy, which is believed to be essential for physical, emotional, and spiritual balance. Now, the power of intention and attention. I'm just going to go into this very quickly. We are almost at the end. Shaping your energy field. In both spiritual wisdom and emerging science, intention, what you aim your energy at, And attention, where you place your focus, are like wands. They shape the structure, frequency, and clarity of your energetic field. They aren't just soft woo-woo concepts. They're the blueprint of how your energy shows up and interacts with the world around you. So it's like the spiritual equivalent of it, entering coordinates in your GPS. Yeah. You got to know which way you're going. You've got to make some sort of decision which way you're going, not just floundering around, or you will be driving around and around in circles and getting nowhere. So clear, grounded intention sends your energy outwards in a focused, coherent wave. A scattered or unconscious intention sends out mixed signals, which weakens your magnetism and confuses the universe and your nervous system. So where intention goes, energy flows and creation begins. So every day when you wake up, even when you're making your coffee or having your breakfast, sit down for a moment and kind of think what you want to achieve today, what direction. Even ask yourself the question: am I going in the right direction that I really want to today? Am I going to achieve something that gets me closer to what it is that I want? So when your attention is stuck in fear, self-doubt, or comparison, you're literally pouring energy into building bad patterns. Yeah, your attention is your altar. Whatever you place upon it, you worship into being. Yes. So when when intention and attention are aligned, your energy field becomes structured, magnetic, and resilient. You begin to attract, influence, and transform with clarity. Your presence sharpens, and people can feel you when you walk into a room. When they are misaligned, your energy becomes chaotic, draining, or weak. You feel scattered, overwhelmed, and disconnect from your power. And this is a really interesting experiment that you can do. You can actually experiment with this if you're going into a space where there are other people, to see how they react. And just for a moment or two, and anyone in the theatre or actors or singers or any sort of performers do this. They warm up, they get into that zone where they become the person that they need to exhibit out there in the world. Now you can do that before you go into a space or into work or whatever it is, just out of curiosity. If you did a 1 or 2 minute exercise in this self-belief of, I am strong, I am equipped, I know what I'm doing, I'm facing the day with inner strength, I am aligned, I have strong intent, all of this sort of stuff that you say to yourself, and really pull yourself out of your body and walk into a room. See how it affects people. Just as a curious experiment, it would be really good for all of you to try it. So remember, intention is the direction of your energy, and attention is your energy's fuel source. Together, they form your energetic blueprint. And important, learn to wield your energy consciously, not by faking positivity, but by owning your truth, cleaning your field, and setting aligned intentions and focused attention. Your energy isn't random, it's responsive. When your intention is clean and your focus is true, your field becomes unstoppable. Okay, that is it, my dear friends. The last thing that I have to say is your energy is sacred. Protect it as if your life depended on it, because it does. And thank you all for being here. I hope that has brought some things back to you, tweaked your mind a little bit about your own energy and what point it is at the moment and how to bring it up again. And yeah, not waste it, because it's valuable. It's a valuable resource. And I thank you very much for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. And if in a day or two you would like to leave a review on the Tarot Queen page, just in reviews, you can find it and leave a review. whether you found this useful. That would be great, because I want to try and do a lot more of this sort of stuff, considering that all my other work is disappearing. I need to work on things that, yeah, are going to kind of fulfill me from the point of view as though I feel that I'm doing what I need to do, and that, yeah, I'm bringing some information to people. So that is it. Now, this is going to be recorded and it will go up, and we will send you the link to it. I'm not giving it out to people who haven't paid at this point in time. Yeah, let's let all of that sink in. And thank you for being here, lovely ladies. Do we have any questions very quickly before we finish? Or is your head pounding with information? It's a lot to take in an hour. Yeah, I think we are done.
There's a little bit of a delay. Wow.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Lurking Ann.
Why no shirt? Oh. I've got to work out how to stop it again.
We could be here for a while.
You have to stop it there.
Stop sharing.
Up here, end streams. Look at that magic button.
And stream.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
End stream again.